1 for the true roller coaster experience, and then in game 3 they're gonna make you believe before ending in a very unfortunate 2-1. That would be the most KT thing possible.
I don't know. I'm not excited at all. I'm anti-excited, actually.
Well, that's
what they want.
That's what they want.
I'm gathering from this.
That's where they thrive.
It's intentional. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm with you, Medic. It worked on me. No, I'm no longer excited.
Not excited in any way, shape,
Very
or form.
good. Yeah, you should not be under no circumstances. Do want to highlight the respect here paid towards the Renata. I do think that a lot of the difficulties from KT were also that a lot of the normal engage angles that you would look for were just being closed off by the existence of this pick. Also means that there's not a lot of other lane bullies in the meta at the moment outside of like maybe an odd Lulu. Not going to be the case, and they're looking to first pick Kai'Sa, right? Like, Tristana's banned, Renata already taken off the board. This is as obvious as it gets.
100%, yeah. And I was definitely going to also highlight, the pushing lane bottom, the lane power there, but they're going to make them choose. Azir is up. Azir is up. Orianna is up, so you could say, even though it's BDD and Scout, 2 of the premier Azir players in the entire world,
yeah, I think you take the Kai'Sa and you go Ori for Azir trade.
Yeah.
I think you have to.
But
Stick
it's not
to the
something.
Plan, hold.
Yeah, it's not something you're going to be feeling super excited about, given the performance that Scout has had thus far.
It's such a hard word not to use.
How do you cast this team, man?
Yeah.
Like, I can never not say it.
Well, I have actually been trained by Atlas. It took me many mistakes before I was able to.
You climbed to the top of the mountain without saying.
You can only say it if you preface it with not.
Okay.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah, safeguard.
And never, in any case, say that KT are in a great position and are looking like the clear favorites. Those are really the main guidelines.
Well, LNG got, in my opinion, 2 of the best blind pick solo lanes here. Quite the duo, especially because Zika Jax, I feel like, is such a specialty. And Scout, in the first 2 days of this tournament, was the best performing player. Back-to-back Azir games, monstrous from him. So KT, as much work as they did to get this Kai'Sa pick uncontested by Isaiah or by Tristana, they're really going to have to make it worth it. Aiming is really going to have to live up to his Kai'Sa namesake.
And I also think that Zika, what really impressed me was his willingness to just keep going for plays that created space, even though like his KDA wasn't that impressive, right? But it was about the impact that he had in team fights that I think is one of the biggest differences between a lot of the top Jaxes and some of the less fortunate ones that we've seen. 2 things though, the Lehends Nautilus specifically is something that he's really been comfortable on outside of specifically the playoff series, where Lehends in general just had a really tough time. And BDD's Taliyah, because I don't think this is going to cuz given the, normal
given BDD
tendencies. Given BDD, because he likes it into Azir specifically, but it's also something that he is able to have sideline impact with. And I think that that's the style that KT is going to play, or no team fighting against LNG. And given game 1, I'm on board with that.
Kind of understandable. We did see the Kalista hover as well quickly for LNG. I wonder if that will get through to the
Viego
second phase. Viego banned away. Obviously, that's a very strong AD jungle aligned with the Taliyah. You land that first stun and someone's locked up for a good 3 seconds in whatever lane you're going for.
Exactly. Like there are other AD jungle options, but none are as good as setting up the Taliyah seismic shove. By the other best one with the R guaranteeing that you can get seismic shove plays. But 100%, this starter pack of first 3 picks for KT is all about go bottom lane with everybody and get as many kills onto aiming so he can win you the game on his famous Kai'Sa.
I'd also argue that it's Cuz's best champion. His Sejuani and Viego specifically were 2 picks that no one in the LCK could match them on. Now, Cuz goes way back, but he is a Rek'Sai enjoyer. I think, unfortunately, on the current patch, not something that we're going to see. I do wonder what they're going to be looking towards, though, because this isn't really the best Sejuani angle with what you have right now. Against the Jax, it's really hard to stack permafrost, right? Like with Nautilus, it's okay, but I don't know if that's the direction that you were going, particularly against J4, who can early put a lot of pressure on you.
Is this a Draven from from LNG. I'm wondering with like the Leona, you can't really pick Kalista here, obviously into Talia. I think with the Leona, you can go for a very aggressive lane in the bottom lane, pick Draven, Civ it a little bit safer, a little bit more boring there, Gala, but that's what's going to be hovered. There was Sejuani locked in alongside Renekton here for KT.
Yeah, those last 2 picks for KT really broadened their game plan here. Now it's not just the go bottom lane or bust. They do have early game options, at least for topside. You know, the very famous dueling power of Renekton and Sejuani into the Jax. Try and get that Renekton to leverage against Jax early and snowball this game, because you've got to win early here. Much more early game focus from KT in the draft. It's going to be an early or bust. Lots
all
of scaling
coming together
on
for your
LNG.
prediction, Chronicler.
Yeah.
All coming together.
So given their play, this feels rough because I don't think KT's early game was that great. In the last one, they were able to take some control, but no real back-breaking leads. But into what LNG have shown at this tournament, I do think this is the right angle. Right now, it doesn't look like KT can actually match him in team fight. And I think some part of that was the draft in the last one, but I don't think you can fully point it on that. This is also something that KT have played throughout the entire year that they have been great on. To me, though, the main thing from a KT perspective is, will Keen finally show the form that we haven't seen of him, in my opinion, since the domestic regular season? Because I don't think that Keen has been bad by any means, but he has been super underwhelming. I watched this man dismantle every single LCK top for 8 straight weeks. He was so far ahead of everyone else. He was solo carrying on so many different picks. And I think on the Renekton in particular, you need to have that kind of performance if you really want to get KT to a game number 3 here.
Well, he's got to do it right now. This is literal elimination game of worlds.
It's not, though, Cody.
Oh,
it's
just
a
kidding.
promotion
Okay,
game of worlds.
Literal
Promotion
losing
game.
of the series game.
We're losing
Nailed
the
it.
series. Winner of this goes through to the quarterfinals, obviously joining JDG and Genji, who are already qualified. It would eliminate their hope of winning this series.
But I do like that story because Keen has been talked up for so long as being one of the very best top laners in the world, and just didn't get his chance to show it a bunch of times, but really, really has the chance now to step up.
And if you want to be like the best, you can connect your League of Legends account with Prime Gaming to grab the exclusive experimentation emote. I'm sure Keen has done it already. We'll just see. Maybe
sure
he'll pop it up
yes,
at some point. It'll be very exciting. We'll all cheer and get excited for the emote.
Not even as a joke,
No?
Medic. No, this is very serious business. Come on. Jokes aside, because that was a joke, just making sure everyone knows. I would never scold Matic. What I do want to highlight, as you were already pointing out, Kobe, is that Keen spent a couple of years on Afrika rosters / Kwangdong rosters that were just always kind of a bust for one reason or another, and we saw him lose a lot of his shine, so that made it all the more impressive how good he was. I think even in spring, but particularly in summer, and how far ahead he was of everyone, including Zeus, who obviously T1 was struggling, but still. And then on the flip side, Doran as well. And then as soon as playoffs rolled around, it just didn't really feel like that was the case anymore. And particularly with how consistent I think LNG have been, again, against any team that isn't JDG, which you can't hold against anyone, given that they are the clear tournament favorites, just means that you got to step up, particularly in a matchup like this where you need the early pressure and where you, as Kobe pointed it out, if you lose, you are eliminated from this best of 3.
Yes,
Exactly.
I will
As
say,
it was
the winner,
clearly stated.
if LNG win, they'll also be eliminated from this best of 3. They just would have won.
Well, then you're
After-
promoted,
Oh, true. That
not
is true.
eliminated.
Well, luckily for Keen, he does have the Sejuani jungle. And every top laner, well, most top laners love the Sejuani advantage here with the permafrost coming through for those duels. So both junglers will be starting on the bottom side. And
Good hook there onto Gala. Aiming putting the damage down. Cleanse away from Gala as well. Trying to get away from the slope. That glacial augment, and something KT did struggle with in game 1 was how much they were being pushed in that bot lane. So if you are a KT fan, that's a promising start for them.
All right, let's see about those junglers ending towards top. Zika looking for his reset here on the Jax. Got the wave in, feels quite nice about his timing. And Cuz will finish up his full clear, no problem. But just definitely feels like for KT, a win lane, win game type of setup here with draft. So the pressure is on very early. The other two lanes pushing as necessary, though, with BDD in mid lane, pushing in the Azir early as expected, and bottom lane.
Yeah, the Jax versus Renekton matchup, in the first 3 levels, Jax has a really big advantage because of Counter-Strike, which is why I really like the call from Zika as well, knowing that you don't have to go for a 4th-wave proxy. Doesn't have to invest his teleport as well, by the way, which is really big, means that even if he gets ganked, as long as he survives, he can still come out ahead. And now, the wave is bouncing away from Keen. Tarzan is in the area, hasn't been spotted yet.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to reveal himself soon, and Jarvan is heading topside for the gank.
Spotted now.
Tarzan has been spotted. Keen, where are you going to go? How do you slip your way out of this one? We saw the dancing shoes from Zika in game 1. Keen might just try and trade in. The counter-strike, slice and dice away. The flash, follow from Zika, and it's a solo in the top lane.
Didn't even need the help!
I think the help helped a little bit. You know, King just couldn't run back to his tower.
Well, obviously.
Yeah. The help means there's no escape for you, and it is the early flash, but Zika instantly answers that flash, and it is a big, well, actually, we're going to see an attempt at the Gromp steal and a successful Gromp steal.
That's just as big as the kill in the top lane for
really,
KT.
though?
Who won? Who won out?
You guys are doing a great job of casting KT. I really appreciate it.
I got you. I mean, I feel kind of bad because we were focusing so much of the story on Keen specifically.
Yeah.
And we kind of target cursed him instead of team-wide curse here for KT. So give him one back. But of course, it is Tarzan cutting off the escape. And we mentioned how both junglers were ending topside. But Sejuani here, you know, he went down bottom for the deep ward and for the bottom side play. So Tarzan's able to complete it. They just box in the crocodile. Nowhere for it to escape to.
TP wasn't invested by King to get back to the lane. He's just run up. Zika has now burnt his TP, so there's a slight summoner advantage for KT in the mid lane, but it's not in the top lane, sorry. It's not a combat summoner, so it won't matter too much. We've seen BDD take a recall in mid as well as he's gone back to get a tier alongside his Doran's ring with which he started.
And I really do feel for top laners, in those types of scenarios. I know I'm super jungler biased, but
that's big. He doesn't know. He doesn't know. He is unaware as he flashes away. The hook connects. The Riptide as well as Gala's being chased under the tower. And Gala is gonzo in the bottom lane.
And the comedic acting duo of aiming and Lehen strikes again. Gala sees that W fly towards him. He's like, that's fine. I don't need to take that damage. Not knowing that Lahen's sitting there quietly in the brush, cackling as Keen does have his ultimate.
Dominus comes out. There's the Ruthless Predator as well. No counter-strike for Zika as he used it for the burst. Stun the cold to meet the Zika. Jump away with the lead strike, and Keen does not want to go any further. Tarzan is on this side of the map, and Keen does not have the vision to back up aggression in that top lane.
Oh, so close for Keen. Doesn't get it again. Heartbreaking. Feels so bad. The last time around, Jax had item advantage because of the cheater recall that he pulled off earlier, and then the jungle intervention. And then this time around, he barely doesn't have enough to squeeze it out. But you guys mentioned it. The W from aiming just to get the spell shield down for Lehens to make the engage good. And Cuz flashes.
And Cuz has to flash to get the kill. Obviously, you would have wanted that on aiming, but you don't really want aiming to burn his flashes. Cuz finds Hung. Hung does still have a flash and ignite if they want to turn it. Hung holding on for dear life to that flash and does manage to escape. The wave pushed into tower, so no freeze possible for KT means that Hung can back and then get back to lane as the wave shoves in.
We'll see if KT uses this opportunity to get themselves off to an early Drake, given that it's Chemtech. Basically any other soul, you're going to be feeling pretty good about, so getting an early Drake would be nice. Also, even though it didn't end up being the difference maker, I do think it meant that KT had a little bit more options in the previous game, and with this comp, they don't have options. You need to snowball early, so starting off with Drake stacking early on would be a really big win for them.
See if we get some lane.
Oh, good knockback. It's not going to be enough to take out Scout, but BDD showing his proficiency on Talia in the mid lane.
See some hovering too from Tarzan down on bottom side, just going up to the line here for Galen Hong to start his recall off in case there was another brush play here, another visit from Cuz on bottom side. But surprise, surprise, he's going up top here, and we've got a level 7 Talia looking to use the ultimate.
Zika should not die to this.
Yeah.
Why not? Because there's a control ward that would have spotted BDD as he walked around this corner, so they know that BDD is working his way towards the top side of the map. Zika backs away, hides out of vision in the fog of war.
I actually think they were setting up a trap there because he was walking towards the pit.
Yeah.
And then Tarzan was also making his way over.
That's
so
quite
if
possible,
he,
yeah.
if he walked up too far and Tarzan and Scout are early to the rotation, then Taliyah in particular is very susceptible to just getting jumped on by too many people and then just end up going down. Also, just the irony of BDD like getting the knockback there, and then you're like, he has a tear and lucidity boots.
Hey, he got another tier stack out of it, okay? Credit to the man. He's
Yeah,
at 126 already.
Yeah, it's not about credit, just about just Taliyah being
Every droplet counts, okay?
Yeah. You don't like water? Huh? You need that for life.
All right, well, every Rift Herald counts a bit more. With the extra 300 gold and guaranteed turret plates, you really got to prioritize that on these snowballing comps, on these win lane, win game comps, on these early game focus that KT have. So really good to pick this one pretty quick for them. They've got the roam timer as well, pushing out mid lane. So this is actually picking pace right back up for them. I want to see when we get our first big BDD play, though, if you can get one of these Taliyah walls, push out mid, then make the move and use Rift Herald. Oh, they can actually contest.
Mid.
Yeah.
They can contest.
Aiming has the killer instinct. Lehens can go in. He will Hex Flash the wall. KT contesting and LNG backing away, something they often do in the early game if they don't feel like they have the advantage in a fight. Very rare that they'll take a fight overmanned or mismatched. Mismatched.
Yes.
Outgunned. Outmanned. Outmanned is the word I was looking for there. I just had to think back to Hamilton quotes, and then you get it. But Zika
okay.
now has his TP back up, so if LNG do want to start the Drake, he will have that summoner at his disposal.
And that's really big because with Key not having his teleport available, it does mean that KT had a very brief window there where they might have like all-inned and would have at least had a 4v4. They didn't want to take the risk. And I do think that one Drake you can still give up. Once you get to two, I think that's really where you get into territory where it buys so much time for LNG that it's not really worth it. If it's one kind of mediocre Drake and then you get like another good one and then you start stacking early on, in that case it might be fine.
It's already starting to be pretty late on Drakes, too.
True.
We're 10.5 minutes. If your first one is 10.5, 11
This is
minutes
no D+.
here, and you're giving that away, I'm like, whoa, the timeline here.
Although, you know, you are playing against LNG, so that that deserves some mention.
And LNG have
Starting
had
up.
some good scaling on their hands. Keen, all right, at least gets the interrupt here. But there we go. KT will grab it.
Yeah, really not much LNG can do with Zika being interrupted. They can't even make the TP play as the Hens is looking for something.
Oh,
the blast
so
gun-
good.
Oh, that was absolutely gorgeous. A bloody beautiful play by KT as they get the cherry on top of their Drake.
Oh, I love it. Lehens goes over to lock him up, and the blast cone is sitting there. BDD just Taliyah W's him to the other side of the blast cone. Instantly taken down. Now they're turning it up. KT on the warpath.
As the Weaver's Ward knocked back by the Emperor's Divide, but Tarzan on the wrong side of the ward and on the wrong side of the Death Chamber.
And these are the type of tempo speed-ups that KT was known for in the LCK as well. The way that they can use this Taliyah to try and set up plays across the map, get some early kills, get themselves a dragon lead, and LNG finally falling behind a little bit, which they need to. Let's be very clear. KT need these leads.
Yeah, I got to be honest, Chronicler. If we didn't see this right now, I was starting to get a little worried.
You should be.
Lehens flashes over, sets him up for the W into the blast cone. It is just beautiful stuff here from Lehens and BDD. And then, as you say, BDD just flips the switch. Once they get a taste of that blood, he's in for another one. Taliyah ultimate over. Cuz started it out, and they get kill number 2. If KT had not flipped the switch here and just started getting some kills after that dragon, I was starting to get a little bit worried for them on the timeline.
Yeah, now you feel nothing instead, which is exactly where
I'm
you
dead
should
inside.
be.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Welcome to the club.
Well, NA, you know.
Want to highlight as well on that play with I've actually thought Cuz did a good job because of the ultimate from Scout. BDD doesn't actually get his E off immediately because he's still in the air. So Cuz changes CC in a way that Scout doesn't get, or Tarzan rather doesn't get to EQ over the wall, and actually at that point BDD once the E is down, you're going to get the kill no matter what. Also, aiming was actually the benefactor of that earlier play that they did find, or that Lahens found rather, and is going to be big. Spotted on vision here.
So not to be a pedantic man.
I was gonna let it go.
Vedius gets tweeted at all the time for saying benefactor.
That's not a
Benefactor
word?
is the person that
It is
gives.
a word.
Ah, there you go.
So beneficiary
Thank
is
you-
the word.
thank
I
you
just
very
don't want
much.
you to get tweets.
Well,
you know?
that's okay, you know, but I'm an English second language kind of
Oh,
guy.
100%.
So I have a built-in excuse.
Yeah, exactly.
So in this case,
Which I'm not.
Medic is the benefactor. Giving knowledge.
Oh, giving
Giving
knowledge.
Oh, thank you for the lesson, Medic.
Well, you're my beneficiary, you know?
I appreciate that. This is educational. I love it.
Just not about League of Legends right now.
We don't need to
We'll
be.
get back
We don't
to
need
that.
to be constricted by these
Honestly,
notions.
Or be confined.
Casters do say both those words an abnormal amount, though. So
Yeah.
I think it is actually very beneficial for watching League.
Not benefactal.
All right, now, now you're getting into deep waters, buddy.
So 2 minutes on the next Dragon to spawn. It was a late first one. About a 1,700 gold lead here for KT. You can see Cuz stealing away this red buff. And the plate's obviously in KT's favor early on. They are looking towards those first items. Storm Raid's already complete on aiming. BDD on his way back to base. What will he pick up? We'll see. Leandries makes sense. Obviously the other option are Ludens, but usually the Leandries just a little bit more powerful on the Talia. As the lane economy snapshot pops up and we see a thrilling lead here for KT.
I gotta say, we said win lane, win game. What's wrong? One of these lanes is not like the other, Chronicler.
Keen, man.
What's that red doing on my screen?
Hey, he got no. As mentioned, for Keen, coming the Worlds, I think that it's not just for me the international kind of stigma that he has to work against, given the time that we did see him in internationals.
Got ganked.
He got C9'd.
Yeah,
Right,
back
like
in
we're
2018,
talking,
2018,
we're talking way back, and it's mostly I think he's fighting himself in regular season, and that's a kind of a recurring theme for this KT. But I think for Keen, most notably, and I do think that the Renekton at this point still forced to be reckoned with, but you get like 15 more minutes, right? And from that point on, not really going to be the case anymore.
KT, though, continue to take objectives off the map. They do lose their bot tier 1 as BDD was just trying to answer Scout's push, but the tower already low. So LNG get the first turret of the game, but with the Rift Herald going down and with Dragon up in 30 seconds, I wonder if we'll see this put down in the mid lane for KT as they start that Dragon stacking up. Reset first for Cuz, go back. What's he gonna grab? Some boots. The plated steel caps, very powerful into a Sivir, a Jax, and a Jarvan.
Yeah, this is why oftentimes you do see these late game Shurima carries paired together, because Azir is one of the mid lane mages that's so good at shifting into the side lanes, has his own mobility, really pretty safe as far as mid laners go in the side lane, and Sivir always loves to plant herself really early on in mid lane here to be able to perma farm.
Ruthless Predator there, I think it's going to come down just afterwards. Dominus now used with the TP out from Scout. This is the Dragon sacrifice, but Keen unable to flash over the wall as Scout finds his mark. Tarzan and Gala forced towards the top side as well. This should be Rift Herald in the mid lane, maybe even the tower falling. In fact, the tower definitely will fall, looking at its health bar now, and then KT can work their way down towards the Dragon and a bot tier 1. The tier 1 in the bot lane should be traded as Gala. Perfect timing on the spell shield there. The Rift Herald still gets its charge in.
Yeah, also doesn't fall for the same trick twice. Not going to be fooled by a killer or a W again. As BDD, like, the fact that they get some on the cross map, I think, is nice for KT. But LNG, as long as they keep making these plays that take away some of the tempo, they keep putting Keen behind, and Scout keeps getting accelerated, I still feel like KT haven't really broken the game in the way that they need to, given the compositions, right? And that's something that, particularly given the reputation of LNG as an extremely consistent team at getting to late game, worries me if you're a KT fan.
Yeah, this game is not even close to broken open. Again, though, feel bad for Keen. Gets teleported on. That counts as a gank also. Zika does flash, so at least that will be down, but Keen also trying to flash the Azir ultimates, and then those soldiers working overtime still give him the push back into the
every
tower.
Angle there for Scout. Yeah, I do think cracking mid tier 1 and bot tier 1 does allow KT a few more angles of attack, especially with the Talia wall. If Zika does step too far forward in a lane, he only has his warding totem and a leap strike to try and get away. His splash down for the next 3 minutes.
So I saw him last game only have
that time he had a control ward as well.
Those
okay,
tools.
Kobe. Every possibility of escape when you have the control
seems
ward.
like the flash and the leap strike were working out pretty well.
Yeah, true. We'll see if he can pull off his magical escape once again, but BDD in the top lane means there's no real threat on Zika. He can push down through this bot lane.
And a -1.
Yeah.
It never stops.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
The top laner experience.
It's all league all the time. Top laners.
All right, but it is going to mean that BDD should be able to finish up that tower topside without any meaningful answer from LNG. They do get a red buff steal away, but a little bit more gold, a little bit more open space for KT to try and work with.
You also see the rest of KT kind of pretending to be interested in Zika, but given that Tarzan is there, I don't think they really have an angle. BDD does have teleport, but wants to back first. And Dominus has popped, and
yeah,
that's it.
Yeah,
just jumps away.
Cuz wanted a bigger piece of Hong, and they do use the ultimate, but he's going to be able to get out without having to burn flash or anything like that, so KT will just retreat. They'll just call it at that. It allowed BDD to at least push the minion wave all the way to second tower on top side, and maybe a little bit of compensation for jungle camps stolen.
Pressure does allow you as well to get some of these deep wards in the Rift the Baron up in 40 seconds. Sorry, if KT decide they want to rush it. I think their composition doesn't do it as quickly as some do, but even the Azir Sivir can actually shred through that Baron pretty quickly if LNG pulled the trigger on it. We saw it in game 1. They are willing to try and force down that Baron quickly.
Yeah, I think the 2-item breakpoint is really one where KT are going to have to make the plays that end the game, right? You're going to have to set yourself up for Soul. You're going to have aiming with a Rage Blade, which means you do actually, as it is finished now, you do have insane amounts of damage threat, particularly when combined with BDD's, Liandry's, Talia. And I think that's the moment where you need to make sure that LNG doesn't find and keep a grasp of this game. So you need to threaten Baron, you need to set up soul points, and ideally you need to find a decisive teamfight win so that you can actually take full control of this game and not allow LNG to just scale. Because if we look, Scout at 2 items, been able to pick up a lot of global gold, and Gala also, he's behind aiming, but he's not in a bad spot by any means.
And this particular Kai'Sa build that Aiming has preferred here really hits at 3 items, feels super good. It's definitely one of the more delayed Kai'Sa builds once they can get the Nashers. And he's already got the extra bow here, so once they can get the 3rd item completed for Aiming, I feel like that's really time to flip the switch and flip the game maybe even.
God's fighting over vision right now. Didn't know that Scout and Gala were waiting in the wings. Now meets one of those soldiers and realizes perhaps he's not on the right side of this trade. This control ward, by the way, where Keen is just walking, has been instrumental for LNG. It's been there for a long time, and it allows them to know where Keen is in terms of his pacing up towards a fight. If Keen TPs, often he'll push up towards there and then TP away. Now the control ward's gone, so my point is moot, but it helped for a little while, okay?
You also see that the Cuz
able to dash away. Solar Flare on Cuz as well, still has the flash, but he's dashed into, he tries to flash the wall, but can't get away already. Tarzan's down. Cuz surviving the Radiant Virtue, keeping him just about alive. He escapes, and Tarzan is the one to fall.
Oh, diving right into that Talia head first. So much burst damage there, even though Cuz face plants into the wall behind Baron. It's Tarzan that goes back to the fountain. That's going to give so much time here.
I mean, it helps you set up for the soul point that Chronicler was talking about by Kobe. Zika going to walk around the wall here. Keen already back, so soul point in 15 seconds. We'll have another look at this because LNG thought they caught the enemy jungler.
Yeah, I think Cuz doesn't actually have his Aftershock available, so they think that they can burst him down in that time.
Aiming,
but
man.
Yeah, the amount of damage, everyone from KT is there, and with BDD standing guard, they're not actually able to take him down. And this will lead to, at the very least, KT starting up, and I think that LNG don't really get in a position to try and contest there. Very big win here for KT, but let's not forget, this feels very similar to what we saw in game number 1, and then LNG made one Baron play, and then it was kind of
You can see how perhaps KT were about it. They started up the dragon. They're like, okay, Lehens, make sure you are marking this Baron. Make sure no one can take it away from us.
It's also last time, I think it was aiming that was helping with the... This time it was BDD, right? Because BDD can just wall over, had teleport as well. So they're like, we are not taking any risk. We didn't know what these guys are up to. And with Scout and Gala both at 2 items, definitely is an opportunity. And this is a good gold graph for KT, but it's not great.
Yeah.
And that's
middling.
That's what you're looking for.
Middling.
It
Rookie
doesn't
numbers, pump those numbers up.
It doesn't incite anything.
No. I'm
just
either
leaves
enlivened or electrified.
It just leaves
by
you
that.
whelmed.
Yeah, I'm very well.
You witness it, and that's it. That's all that's happening. LNG though, maybe just go for Nash again. Worked last time.
They know BDD's bot lane, but Zika doesn't have TP to match. So if Zika then shows on this bot wave, BDD. Actually, they didn't know that BDD was bot lane right there. The wave actually all the way up at the tier 2 tower. So their lack of knowledge of where BDD is could be backing them away a little bit.
Yeah, it's interesting because Zika no teleport, so he's only allowed to push 1 wave. He catches the 1 wave at tower, immediately has to come over and cover the rest of the team.
Seismic shove back, Hung pops the stopwatch, but is he just going to be burst down immediately afterwards? The answer is yes, as KT once again find a pick. Find their prey, and will they look for more? Zika on the flank position here. Sundisk goes down. KT.
That's got to be it.
It's a big moment here.
Time.
They can melt through it. They pop the cone.
Control ward in the back of the pit. It's helping LNG right now. The wave pushed in mid lane. Control ward cleared. Aiming clears all the vision.
They want the pick. They really want the pick. They still have Sejuani ultimate. Where's the turn?
Lehens has depth charge as well. Do you go Gala? Do you go Scout? What are your options? Control ward now in. Spots Lehens, the pixel bush. As KT continue to do the Baron. Tarzan trying to get in, but he's depth charged up. The Baron down to 1,000. The smite comes out from Kuz, and now Zika on the front line. Keen looking for the engage from the side. BDD going in as well with the Weaver's Wall, and it funnels LNG into a choke point, but the blast cone helps them out for a second. Aiming, looking for that killer instinct, can't quite find it. Kuz gets the knock up onto Zika, but the counter-strike comes out. Gala trying to open up, but he's separated from the rest of LNG.
Hung
now he rejoins them. Hung has joined the fray, but Gala has been sent packing back to the bouncing. The Emperor's Divide comes out, but the killer instinct in by Aiming. Counter-strike cleanse, and Aiming continues to dash and to dance and to weave his way around. LNG and Chronicler be damned. I'm damn well excited now.
Aiming Kaisa delivers again. He is into the back line, ripping them to shreds, and KT are knocking on the door.
And LNG, with almost everyone down, at the very least, they're going to lose an incredible amount of their structures. This is the break that KT was waiting for, the timer about to run out. But it's one pick on Hung that starts it all off. And then the way that they go from there, the way that they're able to funnel the rest of LNG, that don't want to take a 4 versus 5 when everyone on KT has all their sums up, and then this slow chase from KT, no one overextending, no one too far forward until they actually have an angle.
And here they go. LNG wandered onto the wrong side of Summoner's Rift. You see Hung coming around the side here, but even though he actually made it back, he has to walk back all the way around while KT got the engage.
You also see one of the problems that Sivers run into is that if the initial fight doesn't have you in a good position, like, you are a short-range stationary AD carry. There's just not that much that you can do. You can't reposition easily. So KT is able to catch out Gala now. 5K, Red Bull, Baron power play coming through here. Skeen's trying again.
TP behind here. Keen's going to force Zika down towards the bottom side. BDD has the Weaver's Wall, but do they know that this TP's come in? They do, but Scout already running in the opposite direction. Zika falls. KT 10-2 and a 9,000 gold lead. 53 seconds on the soul.
There we go. Keen finally has the extra teammate this time around. BDD's got his back for this one.
Calling your big bro. It's like, mate, I've been bullied at school. But what a performance by KT. 6,000 gold on the Baron power play. 30 seconds on the Mountain Soul for them as well. Now win probability sponsor powered by AWS. Does that count as getting excited when it's basically 100%?
You still should not. I want to reiterate that. I feel like that's my responsibility. But at the same time, from this point, we've seen KT in the LCK be able to consistently close out games. And I want to highlight again as well, the way that KT, I think, find backline access is the best, in my opinion, in teamfights out of any team in the LCK. And it's also why it kind of baffled me that they banned aiming's Kai'Sa. Like, as mentioned, I think there was a very clear reason for it. But it's also... aiming on Kai'Sa, it isn't just about him individually as a player, even though I think the mastery is very good. It also just works so well with the way that KT like to play team fights. Gen G, to me, when it comes to like classic front to back, is unmatched. But this type of divey style where you get BDD in the backline, Keen on a flank, Lahen's isolating a target, the Kai'Sa just works so well with it.
I just love it because aiming will always dive into the backline on multiple carries.
Yes, he will.
When you think it's looking dangerous, he likes those odds. He takes those fights. Now he's extremely rich with all the extra kills as well. Full bounty on top of his head, stopwatch in inventory, and they have all the tools necessary to win this game, to push it to a third and decisive game for the series.
Not the longest range composition. The Baron now falling off makes it a little more tricky for them to
short range
up.
dive.
Short range dive. Just get close to them.
Just get on in there.
Trying to
walk into the Sivir and Azir.
Yeah. That's the issue, right?
That'll do it.
Because without Baron, that's kind of what they have to do over the next few moments. Obviously, pressuring as many lanes as possible. Baron up in a minute and a half. Yeah,
that's
90 seconds away from KT throwing it all away at Baron because we said the excited word, you know?
I'm not going to respond to that. I will not be taunted.
I think that's probably the way to go.
I mean, BDD is awfully close to a death cap right now on his Talia, so things are definitely looking pretty good.
And they're in prime position to close this one out. That Baron, they need to set up the vision around it. You can see Lahen's doing exactly that right now. Has 2 more wards on his warding item. I've got a couple of deep wards as well, not quite as deep as you'd like. Obviously, you'd want it at the LNG entrances to their red side jungle, but Lahen's can't really step much further forward before they have mid and top prio, which is what they're working towards right now. The Void Seeker allows Lahen's to go a little bit further into the darkness. Oracles as well, spotting LNG, and there we go. KT now have the vision, they have the Rabadons, and they have everything required to close this one out. For LNG, although they are exceptional at team fighting, although they are a team that we have seen so often
exquisite,
excellent, exciting.
Wait!
I said LNG-er. I said LNG-er, so it's fine.
Okay, thank you.
I said they're great at all of it, you know.
Just want to make sure.
In this position, to find a team fight against KT when they are this strong, when they have 4 items on their AD carry, 3 items on BDD and mid, would be truly miraculous. It would be something brought down by Bible himself.
Are you trying to make me sweat?
No,
because it's working.
This is how I would cast any 2 teams in this situation.
All right, well, they've got a really big double-stacked wave on bottom side thanks to BDD slow pushing with Talia over towards bot lane, and that's going to be the opportunity for KT to put the screws on LNG. Now they bring BDD over, start up the Baron. They've got Sedge ult ready, Nautilus ult ready.
I feel this is for a Zika TP. They can look for more if they want. The Baron already down to 5,000. Zika not TPing in, and Keen has a good flank position. Dashes away as the Baron falls low, and Cuz secures it. KT ring around the rosies, LNG around the Baron, and they secure the objective.
And this is really big because not only is it going to help KT with their range issue, it also means that they get to use this Red Bull Baron power play basically perfectly timed to set up for Elder, right? So you can just start chaining those 2 together to ensure that LNG is not able to find their way back into this game. And we're starting to see the 4-1 here. Talia wall to zone him off the turret, and tough for LNG to deal with this push.
Certainly is. I mean, there's 2 death caps on KT now.
There is Sivir, so
And
it's not that hard. I take it back.
Not quite as powerful as a Nature's Grasp, the Maokai ultimate there, but pushing the team back. Inhibitor tower in the mid lane, though, falling low in the mid lane. Down to a 3rd HP, should be taken by KT. The wave in the top lane pushed in by Keen. Wave in the bot lane not being played on at all. Only 2 lanes the priority here for KT. I like this positioning as well, just gives you that little bit of extra impetus, just making sure LNG can't get close enough to their tower. Lahen's goes in, the depth charge out, but Gala's low already. Gala almost falling, the killer instinct in by aiming, he dodges away from Scouts. Emperor's Divide, not enough, because aiming is aiming for gold with his stopwatch. A double for BDD. Zika, the last man standing, and he'll do his Houdini impression once again. But there's no way out of these handcuffs for LNG as they are being locked into Game 3.
Oh, and as sweet as aiming Skysa is getting all these kills, man, BDD Talia here, so much work in this game. That one, of course, you get the setup from Lehens with the Nautilus, locking them in place. Huge backline damage. They take care of the spell shield. They take care of everything. And then aiming just gets to go